All right, guys, what is going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So, yes, part of me did want to have an excuse just to throw up some Halo footage, but at the same time, I couldn't help but notice after this tweet was posted by Unish, who is one of the guys over at 343, one of the devs over there, and when I first saw this, when it was posted like a week ago, or maybe the better part of a week ago or whatever, I was like, you know what? These guys, believe it or not, are actually seemingly taking a page out of XDefiant's book, and it's already great. XDefiant is already starting. It hasn't even been released yet, and it is already, to a certain extent, inspired other developers, starting with Halo, which is great because, well, until XDefiant comes out, and of course, how it turns out, so far, Halo Infinite has been the game that I have been playing the most as far as first-person shooters go, and as far as pretty much everything else goes, really, to be honest. Unless I'm in the mood to play something different, then it won't even be a shooter at all. But it is really great to see this, because to see Unish, this guy, this dev at 343, getting this transparent, and on top of that, what they were saying in the first place, in the very beginning of this tweet, which is the only part that I'm going to share with you, is pretty damn interesting, because I'm like, man, this guy just pulled a Mark Rubin. Because, like, you know how sometimes when devs have an update that they either post on Twitter, or sometimes they'll make like a video about, you know that they're not really being that transparent. They're kind of beating around the bush or whatnot, you know, kind of like, and again, no disrespect to Joseph Staten or Jason Staten or whatnot, but no, Joseph Staten, for whenever he was on in one of their live streams, it was like, oh boy, here we go again. We're going to get some more bad news. And he gently laid it upon the community that there would be even more delays, or there would be something else that wasn't ready yet or whatnot. But this time it's a lot more transparent than usual. So you know what? Just for the sake of this video, I'm going to say that maybe XDefiant, to some extent, whether it's a lesser or a greater, I say was to a certain extent inspired by this. Or should I say it inspired this to happen. XDefiant could have partially inspired this to happen. So we can only hope that it could be true. But let me, I'm going to share the tweet with you over here. So the very first thing, obviously for those of you guys that have been playing Halo Infinite, one of the problems with the game is, well, obviously as of right now, it has done almost pretty much a complete 180 from what we saw at launch, except for one thing that is one of the major factors, if not the major factor, that's actually holding the game back from truly reaching the potential, and that is networking. So he basically talks about networking, the custom game browser, multi-use customization, instability, and enhanced crash reporting, yada, yada, yada. But basically, I'm going to read only the first part, which is the networking, and he says, and I quote, "We touched on it during Spartan Chatter earlier this year, but wanted to speak to it again because it's coming up as a common topic after Season 5's launch. Previously, our focus was on improving the existing system bit by bit. However, we recognized that this was not having the impact that we wanted and that you expected. So we decided to pursue fundamental changes to the underlying networking model. Since this decision was made, the team has been heads down on a more comprehensive overhaul. An endeavor of this scale takes time, which is why we haven't had many updates to share. Significant work has been done here already, with more still underway. We'll share more as it gets closer to a public testing phase." Now, his tweet was much longer than that. That was only like 1/4 or whatnot of what he had put out. But to basically one big thing that the community, pros and casual players alike, have been complaining about is the desync. Now, I briefly talked to a former pro player who actually coaches a few of the current players right now. He's one of the OGs. And he basically told me that, look, desync is in pretty much every game. It's just that how much of an extent is it? And with Halo Infinite, it is a big problem because it is just way too much. Because, I mean, if you think about it, it does make sense to a certain extent because, well, you're always going to have lag and all that other stuff. But this is basically like desync and basically people's bullets not registering when they should be registering, or them being not as responsive when they should be, or a certain level of consistency that should be in play, is a really big deal, especially for a game like Halo Infinite. I mean, granted, it's also a big deal for any game out there in general. But this has been one of the things that pros and everybody else have been talking about since the beginning of the game. And it's something that in every single type of multiplayer game, it is something that can really hinder its success. Because if a game, I mean, the rest of the game feels great. Like, it's in terms of the gameplay in the sandbox that is Halo Infinite, it is easily probably one of the best Halo games ever made, if not the best Halo game ever made, is because it really does bring everything together in terms of what Halo is. Some Halo titles like Halo 4 and Halo 5 and even Halo Reach to a certain extent have kind of gone a little bit too far off base of what Halo is, to depending on the eyes of the player, of that individual player and their own opinions. But I would say Halo Infinite does a really good job of basically taking the beauty of what was Halo 3's multiplayer and bringing it to today's standards. However, what keeps it from reaching its true greatness is the fact that there's networking problems with desync. So basically what these guys are doing is they're basically going all the way back to the beginning, as opposed to just trying to perfect in terms of where they are, because it just wasn't good enough, simply put. And I play a lot. I play about, I don't know, at least 2 hours a night or so, sometimes more, depending on what I got going on during the day. And I can tell you that it is a consistent enough problem, regardless of whatever mode you play on. It is something that is significant, and I can tell you. So basically, this is really good news, and this type of transparency is like, man, this guy just pulled a Mark Rubin. So I couldn't help but kind of bring that up in this video. And while I'm on this topic, right, I want to talk about something very briefly about XDefiant, because at the end of the day, this is why all of you are here as well, and this is what I've been covering, and this is what you guys want. This is what you guys are here for. So I have absolutely no problem then to talk about XDefiant for a few minutes. Even though the topic of this video was a little bit different, I wanted to at least post something because, well, I kind of miss making videos, and at the same time, it's like I've got the same old footage, and you guys know how that works. And XDefiant, there really isn't too much to talk about, at least right now. So anyway, let's talk about what I want to talk about real quick. So I'm gonna look on my Twitter right now real quick and discuss this while I'm here, because I think this is very interesting. So I did a couple of polls. One of them was earlier today. This was 12 hours ago when I put this up, and so far in 20 votes, which is a lot for my Twitter, by the way, I put up a poll that said, should XDefiant release this year? And it is 100%. All 20 people voted yes. And I'm pretty sure all the people that saw this are not people that follow me, because, well, I had 129 views on this. So I'm sure there were people that don't follow me that saw this. And then I posted another, this is very interesting. I posted another poll yesterday, and it said, will XDefiant release this year? And there was 23 votes, and the final results were yes for 47.8% and no for 52.2%. So it's pretty damn close. Half of the community thinks that it should release this year, and half of the community thinks that it won't release this year, or it shouldn't release this year. So pretty interesting how that is turning out. It's like people want it to release this year, but yet half people believe that it will, and half of them don't. So it's like really a 50-50 guess, so to speak, a 50-50 thing. So I just wanted to add that on because I thought that was very interesting. I was really surprised by those results, especially so far, since we're 12 hours into my latest one and we have 20 votes and it's 100% yes. Like, all the people that voted in that poll want the game to release this year. Now, granted, I understand that this is a very, very, very small sample size. I understand that this is likely the majority of the community, or the majority of like all the people that voted on that are hardcore XDefiant supporters. So of course they're going to say yes. But at the same time, when you look at the other one, when you're torn about almost 50-50, it's like some people realize that, yeah, it's like we would like this to come out, but will it come out, or should it come out? You know what I mean? It's very interesting. But I just kind of wanted to throw that up there because I thought you would find that very interesting. I know I did. So I'm like, there's no way in hell that I'm not going to talk about that. So as far as that is concerned, I think we're in a really interesting spot. Now, what do I think? I was talking to myself about this yesterday because I did a couple practice recordings or whatnot that I never really posted. But I'm torn. Part of me believes that it will come out this year, and another part of me believes that it might go on to 2024. But with that being said, I'm out of time here in this footage, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think and what you would like to, so that way we can extend this even further. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch and or listen, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.